So now, you know, the cool thing they did also was they created this thing called drum synths. So for the sound design guys, for the producer who makes their beats, and you just can't find that right kick or that right sample, and you're driving yourself crazy, and you're like, man, this is just not sounding exactly. You're tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and can't find that sound. So you go to a blank pad, you hit Shift, Browse, and you go to Internal Instruments, and boom, you load this thing up here, and it's called the drum synths. I'm gonna create one that's a drum synth kick. Then I'm gonna come here, create a snare. I'm gonna hit this pad, create a hi-hat. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna load up a percussion. So basically how this works is I'm gonna go to fixed velocity. It has presets also. You have presets also. So now the engine, this is the sub engine. This is the Tronic engine. This is Dusty. It's your grit. Snap. You could even hear like the skin on that. So you come here and I like this kick, and I want to make an 808 sub, so I'm gonna come here and if I want to make it tight, I could tighten it up. And it's like having like mini massives, like little synthesizers, and you're coming in here and you're editing them and you're making them exactly the way you want them. So this is thin. I might want to add some noise or some color to that. Change the decay on that. So then I come here. And then I have my snare, and the snare is the same concept. If you notice what I'm doing, I keep going to pad mode and I hit fixed velocity. I like my drums to hit at 127. I like it to bang all the time. I like it to hit really hard, my kicks and my snares. So I always put it on fixed velocity. So I go to pad mode and I go to fixed velocity so it can hit really hard. If it wasn't on fixed velocity, the pad would be, really touch sensitive. So I don't want that. I just want to slam this bad boy. So in here you have engines also, volt, and the bit, and so you could create your own drum kits, and then you could load as many of these guys on 16 pads and then save that kit and actually share that with your buddies, whoever's using Maschine on the POW. I could even change the tune of the skin. And I'm just messing around and letting you guys hear the. So I can have this really tight, and then I could load. I could come here and I could hit Shift, Browse, and come in here and load a reverb on that. And so come out of that, and I could change the settings of that. And if I don't want the reverb, I can hit Shift and just hit Remove. Come here, open that up a little bit. So now we have percussions, and inside of the new update, the 2.1, we have different, settings in here. So inside of Shaker, you have the realistic mode, and then you've got the performance mode where I might want to. And I can record that when I'm actually playing with the synth. Yeah, you guys like that? Yeah, pretty cool. You have any questions about the, oof, it's hard.
I might need to share that group.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, speaking of which, sharing, can you share to the cloud or no?
What
Like,
on?
is it like a group thing where you can share with Native Instruments and other users, or
I mean, yeah, like, yeah.
Or you have to
I don't know
set
what
it
you
up.
mean by the cloud.
like can you? Is it like integrated with like ability to upload?
No, no.
Okay.
No.
You
But I
can
mean, you could just share
Flip
it.
it up and give it to somebody or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
then can you layer? I'm kind of seeing these as effects. Can you layer drum synths?
with your other
One.
with other drums. Well, I mean, I would play them. No, you can't layer. No. Yeah. But I mean, layering in terms of playing it together. Yes.
You can chain 2 pads, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody have any questions about the synths? So now the mixer also. Let me go over the mixer with you guys. It's the same deal like the other page, the this page. Here is when you see your plus sign here. You go to your effects. You grab your effects. You drop them in here, where the plus sign is. Same same concept. Boom, and your auxiliaries are here for your routing, and your audio in and out is here for your routing as well. Yes.
Let's say you just created this, whole drum set that you did. Do you hit save and it goes into a special? Does that go into your space? That section you showed us before, that was where you created.
You can save the group. Yes. Same concept.
That's where it lives.
Yeah. Yeah. You can save the sound as well. Yeah.
How would you say this particular one? How would you?
You'd go to your group. You go to the group. The same. Yeah.
These are the ones you created.
Yeah. Save as. Yeah. And so in the browser section, I love saving this for last. The keyboard little symbol here, when you click on that guy, it takes you to all instruments. So anybody who owns Contact or Battery or Complete Ultimate, this is where it would live inside of Maschine. So once I hit all instruments, you'll see all of the different expansion packs inside of Complete. So if I came here to the browser, you'll see it in here as well. So here you can browse through all the different categories, and it's tabbed really cool, just like iTunes. So you don't have to just look. The beauty of having Studio is you can see it right here. I don't have to look for the name. I can just visually see the colors, and okay, that's Drum Lab. I know that that's Drum Lab, and I grab that and come here and choose whatever patch I want and just scroll.
Do you typically save, like the drums you just created, right? Do you typically save whole kits out for you, or do you just go, I like a drum and I'll set up my various pieces of the kit and then refer to them whenever I feel like, as individuals versus whole kits?
I'm super scattered. I'm scatterbrained. Like personally, when I'm creating, I do the song, I save it, and I'm gone. I don't, and it's unfortunate, but honestly, with Maschine and events like this, you guys should be meeting each other and hooking up with other Maschine users and creating your own little communities of machine users, because that's the way you're going to really learn this stuff. He's going to do something different than you're going to do, and this guy or she's going to do something different than he's going to do. And when you start building these relationships, that's how you really learn all this stuff. And you're hitting a wall because you're working by yourself. You're sitting in your room and you're just working by yourself, and you're hitting this wall, and you're not building these connections. And that's, something like this is what you should walk away with, like meeting each other, hooking up with each other, sharing drum kits. How do you do that? You find a way to do it because you want to work with each other. Yeah. So for me, I work alone a lot. So if I had other people to work with more so, I would save my kits and share, and create my own sounds and then send them to you. And then now you're creating sounds on top of my sounds, and you start creating a community for Maschine. I think you guys should really do that. Like, exchange emails and just, find out who's sitting next to you. Because you guys are all here for the same reason, and that's to learn this. Yeah? So you guys want to make some music? Yeah? Okay. You guys want to hear my music? Oh, man. Oh. Okay. So I'm gonna go slow because I want the guys who don't know what's happening to follow. So the first thing I'm gonna do is open up browse. So I'm gonna act like I'm not here, but I'm here. And so the first thing I do is I go to my groups and I go through my packs and I say, okay, you can see everything I'm doing up there, right? Yeah. Go to laser dice. I like the expansion pack. This is one of my favorites. And I'll go through a drum kit and say to myself, okay, I want to load this guy up. Sorry, y'all. My laptop's a little slow. So I'll just listen to sounds, I'll load up the first drum kit, and then I'll come here to B, and then I'll load another kit, because I always load 2 kits up. Let's just... And remember I said I like to have my my pads at 127, so I set that to fixed velocity. You guys following what I'm doing?
Are you doing like a group fixed velocity?
Yeah, all my drums, my whole group.
Yeah, you don't have to do it for each individual.
I can, but I like having the whole thing. But as I go along, I'll turn it on and off. So then I'll listen. I'm listening, and if I want to change my tempo, I can come up here and change the tempo here. I can double click on this guy and change the tempo, or I can hold tap down and move the jog wheel and change the tempo like that. My metronome lives here on the software. I can click that, highlight it, and unhighlight it. And if you notice, as I highlight that guy, you see on the hardware, the metronome button actually lit up. So it works together. So metro on here lights up my metronome. The first thing I'm going to do is create a pattern. So I'm going to go to this drum kit, listen to it, and I'm going to hit pattern. Usually it doesn't lock on the page, so when you hit pattern, the top left button locks your pages for you. So if you went out the box, if you hold pattern, it's not going to just stay on pattern. So you have to hold pattern and lock the page. And that's how you lock any page. If I go to scene and I don't lock the page, if I go to scene and let go, it's not going to stay on scene. So I have to hold scene and then lock the page. That's like a really good tip. So when you're working, you don't have to hold that and then feel like you're doing all this stuff. So I'm going to go to pattern. I'm going to pick a group, go to pattern. I'm going to pick a pattern. I'm going to make that pattern length 4 bars. You guys saw that, right? Okay, so I'm going to just listen. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to listen to the sounds. Okay, so I'm going to go into step mode. So we have step mode also. So I want to step that in. I'm going to hit the pad, and I'm going to step that in. And inside of step mode, I can actually make the length of the note as long as I want to make it. And then I could come here, zoom in, zoom out, but I can make the length as long as I want to make it. And then I can't see the rest of my page, so then I want to move the page around. So I'm going to go to navigate, and then I'm going to make that shorter so I can see the page. Come out of navigate and go back and look at the length. Let me move this guy so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to make the length long because this is an ADSR sound and this is massive. If you guys want to see so massive is the sound that I have on this one pad. So this patch is coming from massive. So I step mode it, I put it in there, come out of step mode. So I'm just going to listen now. So I want to quantize that. Okay, so I like that as my intro. So I'm going to double click here and I'm going to call that intro. I already know in my head kind of like where I want to go with it. So that's my intro. So then I'm going to come here to scenes and I'm going to duplicate that scene because I have that intro. I don't want that touched. I want to create a new scene to start building the track. So I'm going to go here to duplicate. I duplicated the scene. So now I know this first scene is my intro. The second scene is what I'm going to build. So now that I'm going to build another scene, I have to build another pattern for that scene. So if I hit this, it's going to play the same pattern that I had in the intro. So I'm going to come here to pattern and I'm going to duplicate that pattern. And I'm going to take out what I don't want in the verse. You guys following? Right. So I come here and I'm listening. Now the only thing I want to keep is that boom, 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 boom. So this right here is going, this is going. So if I hit erase events and I hit that guy and I hit that guy and I hit that guy, it would just erase the events for that. Not the sound, but just what's in the pattern. So now I'm going to go to my second group now and I'm going to create another pattern for the second group. So this is a different group. So now I'm going to come here to pattern, create a new pattern for that, make that 4 bars. And if you notice, if you look in the scene section now I have the second kit and now I have another pattern inside of the scene. So now I'm going to come here, I'm going to double click on this guy and call it verse. Alright? So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to play with these sounds now. Okay, so now I'm gonna just I like to play my stuff live. I don't like step sequencing my drum beats. So cool feature, note repeat. If I go to note repeat, I have different note values on the top 4 slots here. So the first note value is a 1/8. My second note value is a 1/16, and this guy I'm gonna make this 64. All right. That's what I'm hearing in my head. So I hit note repeat and then I'll just audition it before I hit record. So now remember when I said I wanted my level at 127. So for the hi-hat, I don't want it to be that loud for what I'm about to do, so I take it off of fixed velocity. I go back to note repeat. Know how to record. I'm putting it back in that. So now I want to see what I'm doing, so I'm going to go to arrange, go to pattern so I can see what's happening here. I hit follow because I want to see what happens as it follows. If I don't hit follow, I won't see what's happening. So I'll hit follow. I'm not even looking at the computer at this point. I'm in record. I come in and out whenever I want. I have the option to turn the metronome on and off. I don't like that, so I'm gonna hit events, delete it. I'm gonna hit quantize. So I'm gonna listen to the sounds now. Okay, so I like that, right? So I'll go. Okay, so you guys following? Okay, so now this shaker here, I'm like, wow, I like that, but I don't want that to play throughout the whole sequence. So I'm gonna go here, back to scenes, and now I'm gonna actually duplicate the scenes again. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna duplicate the scenes, and I'm gonna go back to the second scene, and this pattern. You hear that? That's in there. So scene verse and scene 3 have the same pattern, and I don't want it to have the same pattern. So I'm going to come here to pattern. I'm going to duplicate this pattern so it doesn't have the same pattern, and I'm going to take this out because I don't want this in there. So I'm going to go to event, right? So now I want to go to scene 3 and listen to it. Any questions?
Show me how to copy the bass drum pattern, right, from the first kit that you're using,
Yeah.
to a different group. How would you do that?
Oh, you just copy the sound to a different group.
Okay, but I don't want to copy the sound.
You just want the
I want-
pattern.
Oh, you just want the pattern. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get there. Yeah. Okay. I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you quantize on playing, or do you have to wait till after?
You can quantize on playing. Yes, you can come here to your preferences, and you have the option to quantize in. So you have quantize record, and you have quantize play record. I personally don't use that. It would drive me crazy that it would quantize before I could even, yeah, no. I want to hear the mistakes. I want to hear the mistakes. I want to swing the notes. I want to do certain things to it. Yes. Yes.
Can you store mutes and solos as part of a pattern? Instead of having to delete the kick drum, for example, can you just turn it off for one of your patterns?
No. Yeah. I mean, unless you're automating, and no. Yeah. Okay. So now that I have that going, I want to. So I want to like bring some of my drum synths in here. So I'm gonna go shift browse, and I'm gonna go to instruments, and I want to load up a percussion. Okay, so okay, so now I want to start chopping some samples up. I'm gonna come here and name this percussion. Okay, so now I'm gonna start chopping some samples up. So and if you guys notice, like whenever I'm doing something new, I go to a different group, so that I can, I don't want to put a percussion on a group that I have a sample on, and it just confuses me. So that's why we have the option to have unlimited groups, and we can do whatever we want. So I'm going to go here to group D, and I have a sample already here that I want to chop up. So easily go on to your desktop and grab whatever and drop it into the sound slot, you know. Oh, shit. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that happened. Well, you know you can't bring MP3s in to Maschine. It has to be Wave. So as you can see, that was an MP3. That did not work. So I'm going to grab this guy and bring it in. You know, once I bring that in, I'm going to go to sampling. I'm going to have to move this down. Yeah, I'm going to have to move this, guys. Is that cool? Yeah. Sorry about that. So now I have this sample in here. I don't know if I want that. Hold on. I'm just going to listen. I like that. I'm going to grab this guy. So I'm going to come back here. And okay. So you saw how that kept going over and over? So if I hit shift choke, that stops that. That stops that automatically. And the reason why that's happening is because I have my polyphony on 8. So I'm going to bring it to 1 and go back to sampling. So I can do that. As long as my polyphony is on 1, it'll bring it back to the one voice. So so the first thing I do is I listen to the sample to figure out what I want to take. So here I have my play range, and I'm going to literally move. As you can see, everything I'm doing here, I can see it on the screen as well. I could zoom in on the right screen, and I could scroll left to right with this second knob. So I'm going to scroll back out, scroll back in, left to right. So I'm going to truncate the rest of it. Truncating is discarding the rest of the sample. So I'm going to hit apply. So now here's a really cool feature that we have inside of Maschine 2.1 now, is we have select range. So now I can come into the select range and I can choose what I want to do with different parts of the sample. So I'm going to highlight that in my select range, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to reverse that. So now it's a whole new sound now. So now, okay, I have that going. I'm going to bring my select range back, and then I'm going to go to slice. So now I'm going to slice it individually the way I want to play it in the beat. So I'm going to come here. Okay, so of course it's not lined up the way you want it to. So we go to this pad and you hit edit. So I can right, so now I've got all my chops. I come out of edit. Now I want my chops individual. I want to be able to take each chop and manipulate each sound separately. So the first thing I'm going to do is go apply to, and I'm going to choose a blank group to send all my chops to. I'm going to choose a blank group. I hit that, and then I'm going to hit apply. Once I hit apply, you see that automatically Maschine, like, kind of, it's like a Rex file. It it knows where I chopped it, and it creates like a pattern for me. I'll either take the pattern and love it, or I'll go to a new pattern and make my own thing out of it. So I'm going to solo that group, and I'm going to... Now, is that going to work with the beat that I'm doing? I don't know. I'm just going to have to press play and find out. All right, so now each pad is not cutting each other off, so it sounds kind of weird. So the first thing I want to do is have each pad cut each other off so it doesn't overlap each other. You guys following? So the first thing I'm going to do is go to select, and I'm going to select all the pads, and then I'm going to come out of select, and I'm going to make those pads one polyphony. Then I'm going to come here to the pad group, and I'm going to make the choke group 1. So basically, choke group 1 tells each pad to cut each other off. You know, if I didn't want the 4 pads to cut each other off and just the 2 pads, I would assign choke group to just those 2, and I'll assign those to 1, and then the other 2 I'll assign to 2. Yeah? Okay. So then I come out of pad mode. I make sure I go back to select, hit none, so that all the settings and things that I'm doing doesn't affect every pad. So then I come here. So I'll come here to pattern, and I'm going to do a new pattern. Let me see. I want that to be 4 bars. Are you guys following? Okay. Yeah. So now I'm building different parts of the song. So I come here and go to scene and name this verse with vocal. Okay? So now I want to do some like cool stuff now. So now if I'm doing a live beat set and I want to perform, you know, this beat set, and I have my drums here, and I want to play like my drums live while this is going. I might, but now I want to switch my scenes. I want to switch my scenes around. So what I can do now is I can come here to my keyboard and use my keyboard as my scene selector. It can switch scenes for me. So I can now come here and go to MIDI note, choose MIDI note, and then I could choose the controller, the source that I want to use as my scene controller. So then I'm going to come here and choose port 1. So if I go, where's the octaves on this thing? Okay. Let me see if this is working. Hold on. So I come here to my MIDI settings, make sure that this is on. So that's on, MIDI in, and this is not. So turn that on. Yeah, the external controller like triggers your scenes for you. Hold on. I want you guys to see this. It's pretty cool. No, that's not it. Oh. What? It did do it for me? It did it? Let's go back. It didn't do it now, right? Yeah, it starts at C minus 2. There we go. Yeah, cool. So now if I'm here and I'm doing a beat set and I want to... You know what I'm saying? I can do my scene changes here. And this works with any controller. So like I usually do this with my micro. So I'll put my micro in a MIDI mode and set it up inside of my controller editor, C minus 2, and then like chromatically up, and it'll actually do my scene changes for me. So now I can set up all my performance stuff inside of my scenes, which is pretty crazy.
You can set that to toggle on step 1 or toggle on.
Absolutely. And you would do that here. So if I came here to off and I turned that off and did this, now you see how I created a new scene and took the vocals out of that one. So now the vocals are in this scene and not in this scene. So now I could come here and change the position of the scenes. So now I'm like, okay, I want the vocals in that other scene, so I'll bring that over here.
Changing the scene,
I'm changing the position of the scenes.
controller, is that only in 2.0 and up?
With the keyboard, yes. Yeah, 2.1. Yeah, yeah. I would hope and up.
Very much like to thank Pyramide for hosting me here once again. I think this institution is really cool, and until I came here for the first time, I had never seen anything like it in my whole life.
What I think really separates us from other people who teach is that we are outrageously passionate about what we do, and especially in electronic music.
Since coming to Pyramide, I've discovered electronic music, and San Francisco being a mecca for underground electronic music opened up so many doors for me and kind of blew my mind.
We cover everything from absinthe to contact. When people get to the mind-melting level, we get into modular synthesis.
Everything about Native Instruments, everything about Logic synths down to the finest detail. We learned it all.
The fundamentals of understanding how things work, that's just essential. But then beyond that, there's so much more, and that's where it gets into just a lot of the artistic side of like the creative approach of why you do something, not just how.
There's a lot of schools that just, they focus on the technicality of recording music, but I wanted something that would foster creativity and really help me develop as an artist as well.
Each of our genre-specific programs comes in 4 levels. There's a basic, an advanced, a professional, and then a master's level. And the master's level is, of course, everything we do. It's the largest and most powerful programs that we can create for you.